Okay. The sound of food. Is a reflex something that happens naturally or can it be taught? In the late 1800s, Ivan Pavlov was a scientist living and working in Russia. He had been studying how dogs digest food. He noticed something very interesting. Before he fed the dogs, they would begin to salivate. That means like spit or produce saliva.
Saliva, wow.
Yeah, when they saw Pavlov take out their food, they knew he would feed them soon. The saliva helped them digest the food. Watching this made Pavlov curious. He wondered if something other than food could have the same effect. He decided to do some experiments to test
His idea.
Yeah.
Just before he fed the dogs each day, he rang a bell.
After doing this, the dog salivated at just the sound of the bell.
Each time Pavlov rang the bell, he got the same results.
In Pavlov's experiments, the bell was the
stimulus.
It caused the effects salivation that he was
trying to produce before.
Before Pavlov trained the dogs, the sound of a bell didn't have any effect on them. Pavlov trained the dogs to link the sound of the bell with the food. The animals got so used to this idea that even when there was no food, they still reacted the same way. You go.
The dog's response was a reflex. If you tap just below the center of your knee, your leg will kick. You don't kick on purpose. It's just a reflex. Purpose. It's just a reflex. If you put your finger on the newborn baby's hand, the baby will grasp it.
Shine a light at someone's eyes and their pupils will shrink. Living things are born with all kinds of reflexes. Each time a stimulus is present, the body behaves the same way. Through his work with dogs, Pavlov was able to show that reflexes can be taught too.
Yes.
Let's go over some of our words. Saliva is a fluid produced in the mouth that helps chewing, swallowing, and digesting food.
Next is effect.
Something that happens as a result of a cause. Stimulus. Something that excites or causes an action. Reflex. An automatic response to a stimulus. So a reflex is if I went to tickle you, you go, ah! That's a reflex, okay? The phrase Pavlov's dog is used to describe someone who reacts to something without thinking first. Pavlov won the Nobel Prize in 1904 for his studies of how the digestive system works.
Wow.
Have you ever eaten something that made you feel sick?
No.
Chances are you won't want to eat that food again anytime soon. In your mind, you've linked that food with feeling ill. This is actually a healthy response, especially for animals. It keeps them from eating things that could harm them.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
I heard that food is for dogs. Do you know that?
I know. And he was checking to see. He was doing a science experiment. Circle the letter of the best answer to answer each question below.
Which of the following qualities do you think made Pavlov a good scientist?
A good scientist.
A.
Read the others. Read. He studied. Well,
how about both B and C?
You think?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. That is exactly right. Number 2. Pavlov published the results of his work so that other scientists can learn about it. If another scientist performed the same experiment, he or she should
get the same results that Pavlov did. Get different results than Pavlov did. Use cats instead of dogs. Come up with new hypotheses.
That's a conclusion.
Get the different and same. Use this one.
Okay, so it can learn about it. If another scientist performed the same experiments, he should, would you say,
Get the same results.
Okay. If he followed it exact, okay. Read the paragraph below, then answer 2 questions that follow it. Molly's dad gets up early every morning to make coffee. A few minutes after it starts brewing, Molly's alarm clock goes off. Lately, Molly has started to wake up as soon as she smells the coffee, even though her alarm hasn't gone off yet. In the paragraph above, what is the stimulus? So what made Molly wake up?
With an alarm clock.
Okay, that used to be, but what else made her wake up?
She smells the coffee.
Good. Because the alarm clock is for her ears and the smell of the coffee is for her
Nose.
There you go. What 2 things does Molly link together?
Her ears and her nose.
Her ears and her nose. So ears, what do we do with ears? We want hearing.
Hearing and smelling.
Very good, Bella. You're a rock star at this. Write your answers in the line below. What do you think Pavlov's hypothesis was? His conclusion, his what do you think
The
happened?
dog's response was ringing a bell.
Excellent. Pavlov found that if he gave food to the dog first and then rang the bell, the dog would not salivate at the sound of the bell. Explain why you think this.
The dog would not hear the sound of a bell because he will not eat his food.
Okay, found that if he gave food to the dog first, okay? Exactly. Just put a check mark there. Do you think Pavlov's experiment would work with something other than a bell?
Yes.
Like what? For example, what? A horn, a light? Which do you think would work other than a bell to get the dog's attention?
Each time a stimulus is presented. Stimuluses are presented.
So what kind of stimuluses other than the bell could he use?
Putting a finger in a newborn baby's hand.
Okay, so that is a stimulus that they said in here. But if he's using a sound other than a bell sound, what other sound do you think he could try?
He can try
What's another timer sound? A bell,
a piano.
What's that sound?
Buzzer.
A buzzer.
A buzzer. A whistle.
A whistle. What about for their eyes? What else can he? For their eyes, maybe. What could he get to stimulate their eyes for attention? What could he do in the room? He could
See colors.
use a color kind of light, maybe. Good. It's a different kind of stimulus. Awesome, Belle. You rocked it.